most good ideas get laughed at first, you know. The most really, really good and useful ideas people are extremely hostile to. You know, when the Wright brothers came up with the airplane, there was not a lot of enthusiasm. I think all of that type of resistance is designed to test the artist. How much do they believe in what they're doing? And usually people who are the quote-unquote remedy and have what a lot of people could use to hear or need to hear, they are isolated in the beginning. You know, people are turning a deaf ear to them because then they're not like everything else that's happening out there. I think that's a positive sign.
Popularity is really just an indicator of just that popularity. It's not necessarily an indicator of value or anything else. And there are things that were popular 10 or 15 or 20 years ago that very few people will actually remember. And then there are things that are not popular in their day that stand the test of time.
We are better off for Beethoven and Basquiat and Sun Ra and John Coltrane making Love Supreme, all of those things that are derided sometimes or misunderstood in their time, are actually, without it being said as loudly as some of us might like, those are the standard bearers. All of the stuff that does well in the marketplace in the short term, well, it doesn't age well, and history shows that. If you go back 10 years, and look at everything that was on the top of the charts, so to speak, you separate the grain from the chaff fairly quickly. Even in a popular context, if you look at Billboard magazine, you look at the top 200 albums, and then you look at the top catalog albums, you're gonna get a much different story.
You know, I look for that in people who are distinctive and are not fitting in quite so well, because there's something in that struggle, in that rigor.
And that was my whole thing about wanting to create art anyway, is that I wanted it to be something that would last.
So just keep doing what you're doing. Like,
people who are hearing this, don't be discouraged to live out your dream. Just keep one foot in front of the other. And it's a shout out to all of the big dreamers. A shout out to the never quitters. Shout out to everybody that's interested in truth and beauty everywhere in the world.
Yeah, so just don't stop. You know, they can't ignore real talent, and they can't ignore determined people. Determined people with real talent do not go ignored. And it's all about being patient too.
Because in order to create anything of any lasting value, you have to employ very essential human principles like patience, belief, forbearance.
People have an extraordinary power to change their circumstances and the circumstances of other people around them for better or for worse.
You know, the seats of power change, seats of influence change, and the facts are in flux, but the truth is unchanged. And the truth of the matter is that, well, to quote Einstein, you can behave as if nothing is a miracle, you can behave as if everything is. And I'm more on the everything is side of things personally. And I just see so much opportunity and beauty in the world and an opportunity to express it. I'm just really encouraged. The darker elements, the shadows, if you so to speak, are always present, but the light is not afraid of the dark.
So yeah, I'm very hopeful. I don't feel discouraged at all. I think there's only one perspective of things actually being shown anyway. I think that if you depend on the larger media for your views, perspective, and news, that you're gonna get a type of very cynical doomsday world view.
Your worldview might be very fear-based,
But I don't think that, they really reflect how people really are feeling. You know, and my travels and conversations and just interactions with people from all different backgrounds and places want good things for themselves and other people. I find a lot more good in people than whack in people. On an intuitive level, there's what you can know based on the facts that are offered you, and then there's something that you just have a sense of.
A creative act is to share what you know, or to share what you've experienced with others, so that they might experience the joy of the revelation that you've had. And I think that's the other part about the creative process and the spiritual aspect is the revelation. There's sometimes, and I'm sure that we've all experienced this, where you'll be in the process of doing something, you have an idea, or you have something that occurred to you, and you get into the process of doing it, and you have a revelation. After it's done, you have another sort of revelation. So the creative act is, I think, almost as much or more about what you don't know.
The real measure of anything valuable is that somebody would do it whether they were being applauded for it or not. It's just that level of earnestness that I find much more energizing.
Everyone has the ability to be creative. People doubt that in themselves, and they don't act on that instinct based on kind of being intimidated. You know, it's a process. It's all about people's belief.
We are all devoted to something. The question is how well does that thing serve us in all of our needs, whether they be base, medium, or high? Where is the priority on those needs? If you're serving a thing where the priority is the base needs, well, then we're at the point in history where we can see how that always works out. And also, just from even an empirical point of view, all of the promises of modernity in terms of access and material wealth have failed to deliver. Art is another thing altogether.
Right.
I mean, the fence around it called the industry is just, it's just a industrial fence,
Right. I think there is a defined line between art and entertainment. I think that art can have entertainment value, but I think that things that are just trying to entertain, just solely for the purpose of entertainment, are different than what could be considered art. I think that the entertainment products don't age as well. Things of quality have no fear of time.
My proposal, so to speak, is that art is not just, or fine art, to use a phrase, is not limited or restricted solely to what you can hang on a wall. We're all a continuum, So the different categories are, they apply to a certain degree, but there's something else more essential than that.
I love y'all. Thank y'all. God bless y'all. Be peace.